Hello guys, so is the hat giving Tana Mojo cancelled? The hat's giving, why the frick are you wearing a hat? Get rid of the hat, I'm scared I'm going to get laughed at. Hello everybody, welcome back to Lil's Takes, the podcast, episode, why do I keep on saying episode? I have no idea what episode it is, loads. You might wonder why I've got loads of fuzzy things around me. It's spring. Oh, sorry, I covered my mic then. It's spring, so I've got my duck out joking. It's freezing here, and these all heat up. So I've got water bottles, I've got a water bottle under my leg, and a little heated chick over there, because my set is Baltic. Not a lot I can do about that, though, is there? So, let us continue. So today, I was sat and I was umming and ahhing, what should I do a podcast about? Oh, God. And I'm thinking, I don't want to talk about something that I don't feel strongly about, that I'm not passionate about. I don't want just a throwaway episode that I'm like, yeah, well, it'll do this week. And sometimes I do that because I just want to get something up. Do you know what? Not this week. That's not what's happening. This is something that plays on my mind so often, and I've made TikToks about it and never posted them because I'm worried about what people will say, or I do struggle to post TikToks that are serious because my content is so I try to make it really light-hearted and really funny, but this subject is one thing that I've never breached because I just thought that's not what my audience wants. But you know what? Balls to what my audience wants at the minute. No, I'm joking. I will always do what I think you guys want to hear, but I just want to give my take on something that I don't see a lot of in this industry. I don't see people talking about it enough. Not on my For You page. Maybe you get loads of this. Maybe, we're coming from two different viewpoints here. So today, sorry, I'm trying to connect to my hotspot while I'm doing this. I'm giving up. So today, I'm going to talk about how this generation of men are not denied anything, and how I think the sex work industry, which I'm going to call SWI just for quickness because I'm going to say it so many times, the SWI is becoming dangerous, and it's becoming dangerous to our society as a whole, not just for the people that are involved in the SWI. It's getting out of hand. I fear it's getting out of... This is my humble opinion. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong in the comments. I'm going to go into far more detail. I don't want you to sit there and think, oh, she hates women. Oh, she hates sex workers. No, this is going to be... You're going to be like, what the hell have you got to say about this? Because who am I? First of all, who am I? But hopefully as I get through this, you're going to understand why I do want to talk about it and why I think it's important. So, I used to do a series called My Weird DMs, where I used to get really weird DMs from men, and I used to talk about them and just out them on my TikTok and talk about how weird their responses were. And I've noticed, as I've got older and as I've, continued to do this job longer, my responses have got weirder, and the men that message me on Instagram and that comment on my videos, they're completely... It's like someone's just let them off their lead. I don't know any other way to describe it. So I get messages asking me all the time if I've got a spicy page, if I'd sell pictures to them, if I'd send them my Air Force. Loads of feet stuff. I got a lot of feet stuff. But it's not just like a little bit. It's like, at its peak, I was getting it like 3-4 times a week. I probably get a message once a week now of that nature. Like, let me just see. I haven't got good signal here, but let me just see if I go into my DMs and see if we can find a message like this. I also get messages from OnlyFans managers who are, pitching themselves to me saying, hey, have you ever thought of doing this? I've literally just scrolled once. This is from Friday. Could you uncover your feet if I paid for it? Hi, I came across your profile. I was wondering if you would if you would be interested in selling to me. No worries if you're not. That obviously, they're inquiring about pictures. Have you got a spicy page yet, lol? And this is only just over a week. I would understand if my content was, I wouldn't understand, but I'd get where you're coming from a little bit more. If my content was focused on my appearance, on, sort of sexualising myself. But it's not. Like, my content is comedy and it's story times. And every now and again, yeah, I'll do a little transition video with my makeup or my hair, or I'll do a little fit check. But that is not the basis of my content. And I'm not here to make it about me at all and be like, oh, I get these messages from men. No, this is not what I'm talking about. I mean, where is this coming from? Like, what has spurred on this thing in men? And of course, a lot of the confidence comes from the shield of social media. Sitting behind an account that's got no name. Actually, on Instagram, these accounts are literally just these men's accounts. They don't care at all. And behind a username, behind a profile picture that is not you at all, you can say whatever you like. But it's not like these men are asking women whatever they like without warrant behind them. Without, something spurring them, without thinking they can actually get something out of it. And I think it's because of the rise of OnlyFans and the sex work industry. And suddenly, men can... And the unfortunate link between social media and OnlyFans is that a lot of OnlyFans creators do put the links in the bio. Well, you can't on TikTok anymore. I don't know if you can on Instagram, but in their link trees. So they're not only OnlyFans creators, they are Instagram models. And this is, I would like to say off the bat, this is no hate to the girls that do this. If this is how you earn your money, if that's the hustle you've got, if it makes you feel empowered, then that is great. That's your thing. That's empowerment for you. That's how you pay your bills. I don't have a problem with you in particular. I have an issue with the way the industry is developing and what this means for men that engage in this content. Because it's so based on money. So everything's based on money, but this is so monetized that we're losing the social aspect of it that's making it dangerous. The social aspect is what's making it dangerous for women. So an increasing amount of women are not only OnlyFans creators, but they're Instagram models, and they market their OnlyFans through their Instagram, which means you can see a pretty girl that you like on Instagram, you can click on her profile, and then there's a good chance that maybe they'll have an OnlyFans link where these men can get what they want out of these women. And they don't have to speak to them, they don't have to be nice to them, they don't have to do anything, they don't have to interact with them at all if they don't want to. And suddenly that woman is available to them, they've got what they wanted at a monetary value, and they can leave. And that's a transactional, thing. And so it's making people on social media apps like me that aren't in the SWI that are suddenly becoming more and more objectified because of the availability of women now. And I'm not saying it's mass, I'm not saying in general, I'm just saying the more these men are relating a woman's presence online, because they wouldn't do this to women in the street, this is a woman's presence online with sexual gratification, whatever they desire, then the more any woman's presence online is going to seem like that to them. This deep connection between social media and the SWI is creating a generation of people who haven't been denied anything by women. They can see their profile, they can click the link, and it's making the SWI much more personal and available. And that's what I think is a bad thing, because not only is it so easy, men can have... I'm saying men, it is women, but from my experience, and I'm talking about my experience, it's only men. I only get messages from men. So this is what I'm talking about. And I'm sorry if that's not your experience. This is just mine. OnlyFans creators can make it so much more personal, and that's where they make a lot of their money. They can take requests. And still, in this request situation, they can have personal conversations with these girls. They don't have to be friends with them. They don't have to seduce them. They don't have to be nice to them if that's what their kink is, if that's what these women are providing, if these women are happy to provide a service where a man is not kind to them, then that's what they can get, because it's at the woman's discretion. So men can get, they can get to the final destination of a relationship without going through any of the social work beforehand, which is decreasing their social abilities in real life, and which is not helping them see women as human beings, as people that need to be spoken to with respect, as people in general. This whole thing is turning into another way of objectifying women day to day without realising it, or with realising it and not taking it into consideration at all. Yeah, OnlyFans has created a system where you don't have to get to know, interact, or even be kind to women for them to offer you a personal experience. In the comfort of their own home, they don't have to leave the house, they don't have to socialise. And that is where it's getting really dangerous. The sex work industry is becoming so popularised with men that they think women want it to be this way. Because more women are getting involved in OnlyFans and in the sex work industry in general. It's becoming more popularised that men think this is what women want. Women want to be sexualised in this way. Women want to be spoken to like this. And I'm only saying this because I posted a video that had nothing to do with my appearance, and a man commented something on it, like something really sexual. I think it might have been about the way I look. I can't remember what he said, but I distinctly remember I commented back to him, and then someone underneath commented back to me again, my reply, and said, women want the sex industry to be popular, and yet they get angry at you when you engage with it. And I was like, no. No, not all women want the sex industry to be this popular. Like, it's great for people who work within the sex industry, that they're making more money, that, you know, that's brilliant for you. And I'm not angry at you at all. It's so great that your business, that your venture, that whatever it is that makes you feel empowered is taken off in this way. It's not good, however, for me, I'm being selfish here, for girls like me, for young girls on the internet that don't want to engage in the sex work industry, but are being sexualised by men because of the rise of the industry. It just happens to be adjacent and synonymous with each other. And that's just a real shame for people like me, because it means, you know, we get unwarranted messages. But why would you think that's what every woman wants? No. No. And that also, just because the rise of the sex work industry, just because it's increasing in popularity, doesn't mean that you have the right to sexualise women on whatever platform you desire. And also, it doesn't mean that you can encourage women to engage in the sex work industry. I get a lot of messages, like I said before, from OnlyFans managers saying, you could be making this amount of money, I can help you with this. Like, it's obviously so monetized that people are pushing the money aspect of it to you, saying you could make so much money, because people do make a lot of money doing OnlyFans and things like this. So that's the side of it they're going to push to you. OnlyFans managers are not going to are not going to message young girls saying this is the money you can earn, but you should also really be wary of, you know, self-preservation and your feeling of where you get your feeling of worth within yourself, and you know, the mental health side of things that could affect you. I'm not saying they do affect everyone. I'm not saying women's self-worth comes from the male gaze. Some people do and they like that, some people don't and they don't like that. And I'm not saying everyone that works in the sex industry, you know, is catering to the male or whatever. You know what I mean? But there's so many other implications that would not be pitched to you, and because it's so accessible for young girls, not only are we creating an environment that's possibly dangerous for young girls, but we're enticing women in because it's so monetized. So yeah, personally, I don't see the benefit from the sex work industry being popularised. I get that a lot more women can, in their eyes, take control of their bodies and monetize their bodies if that's what they want, and they can make money out of it, and they see that as empowering themselves and getting one back on the men by charging them for it. I get a lot of women see empowerment from that. Personally, I could never take empowerment from selling myself. I could never take it. It's not empowering for me when someone's paying me like they're my boss. Do you know what I mean? I know I would, you know, set the prices and I would do what I want but not do what I don't want. But if there's a man paying me for that pleasure, if I'm providing a service for him, that is not empowering to me. It wouldn't be. I'm just giving you another perspective here. I'm not saying it's the right one, it's just how I think. If a man all I can see is him handing money down to me for me to do something for him. That's not empowerment. It is to some women, and that's fine. Who am I to tell you where you get your empowerment from? I understand where you are empowered from it, because you're setting the standard. I get that. It just wouldn't be for me. So, and I don't think it's right for men to assume that it is. And a lot of men are like, well, you should do it because I'm paying you, like, make money off it. What? Like, if I went on holiday and posted a bikini picture on my Instagram, but like, why don't you put this on Instagram, make money off that? That's not what I'm here for. I don't want to monetize my body. That's not who I am. That's not what I have ever wanted. It's rude of you to assume that that's the purpose of this. My Instagram is like my life's little record book. It's like my little journal where I get to put on like what I'm doing in my life. It's not for monetary. My body isn't for monetary value. But that's just me. I don't know. And then in that comment that I was talking about earlier, that guy said women get angry. So women want the sex industry to be popular, and then they get angry at you when you suggest it to them. I'm not angry. I'm not being like an ultra-feminist woman that's like, no, don't look at women's body. I'm angry at the fact I have no part in the sex work industry. And yet, that video had nothing to do with the sex work industry. And yet you've taken it upon yourself to make it that way. I never have. I'm just a girl that makes videos on the internet. My content isn't focused on appearance. It's predominantly story times and comedy. And yet I still get sexual comments about my appearance. I get messages from men weekly asking if I have a spicy page. I get men offering me money, and not just offering, they get irate and they get angry if I don't comply. Where does that confidence come from? To give you, in your mind, the fact that you have the right to get angry at me because I am not giving you what you want. And that is because of the rise of men not being denied anything, but not denied as much as they used to be when they actually had to go out and get social interaction to speak to a woman. They don't have to do that anymore. They can do it from being sat in their bed. And that, I think that's what's becoming dangerous. It's promoting danger to, we've all watched Adolescence. That's something new that's just come out. It's promoting danger towards women. Men are saying that they don't understand why people don't capitalise on the industry. And I would like to add that it has absolutely nothing to do with how you look, how I look. It's not me being like, oh, I'm so fit that everyone asks me if I want to do an OnlyFans. No, it's not even about appearance, because my videos are not. I look like this. I go on my TikTok and make comedy videos, and I still get these. This happens to girls all over the internet every single day. I can't imagine what it's like for girls that have a predominantly Instagram-based following, a huge following, that God forbid a man finds a section of their appearance attractive. God forbid. It's not something that bothers me because it's annoying. I can deal with the messages. It bothers me because it's heading in a dangerous direction, and it bothers me because you're angry. I don't deserve your anger towards me. And I just don't want to read. Like, I want to understand where your confidence comes from. Would you go up to a woman in the street and go, hi, I know you're just doing your shopping in Tesco, but I like the way you look. Would you sell me pictures? Is there anywhere I can go to find you naked? Would you go up to a woman and ask her in person if there's anywhere they can go to find you naked? No, no, it's a woman's presence online that is objectifying to them. Simply being online now and having an attractive, what a man deems to be an attractive quality, is enough for you to be objectified. And a lot of men are like, what do you mean objectified? Treating a woman as an object, as something you can get what you want out of, treating them not as a human being. Because were there any thoughts flowing through your head when you sent me a message that might make me upset? It might make me uncomfortable. It might make me upset. It might make me angry. It might make me feel weird. I don't know. Did you not take that into account at all? And I know people are like, well, you don't ask, you don't get. That means for, like, jobs. Do you know what I mean? Why are you taking it so literally? The show Adolescence, if you haven't watched it, it showed us that violence towards women can be inspired and fueled online. and we know that sex can be linked to violence. Why hasn't more care been taken in evolving the industry the way that OnlyFans has? No care has been taken because it's so monetized, so focused on monetary value. But now it's become an industry where not only are young girls could be influenced into making decisions that they will later regret because of quick cash. I'm not saying every SWI worker regrets their decision and just wants to make quick cash. That's not what I'm saying. Some people do, and that's why they started, because they need money and they need money quickly. And I'm not saying every SWI worker regrets what they're doing. Some women don't, and that's completely fine too. But some women do. And how are you to know that in 20 years you're not going to regret what you're doing? That's the same with anything. How do you know that you're going to take an office job and in 20 years you're not going to regret doing that? But this is something that, potentially exposes in society today, the most intimate parts of you and your relationship and your relationship with yourself and where you find your self-worth and how you see yourself as a person. It can change all of that. And a lot of girls don't have the education and the time to think through decisions like that before they make them. And they're being, sometimes by managements and men, pressured into doing things like that because of money. The potential is there. I'm not saying everybody does that, but the potential is there. And not only is it doing that, it's inspiring a generation of men that can get whatever they want from women in the comfort of their own homes, the most intimate and otherwise absolutely inaccessible parts of a relationship without trying or needing to speak to a woman. It's different than corn. I'm not going to say that word. It is different because you can get personalised experiences, and it's really linked now to social media. And that link between social media, so you're seeing, the personality of this person. You're seeing what they do day to day on their Instagram, if that's what they put. Like, you can see who they are as a person and then go one step further and subscribe to their OnlyFans. That's different to how it used to be. That's not the same. This instills, even if it's subconscious, visualising women on the internet as objects of sex, which is why more men are reaching out to women they see online with less inhibition. And I don't know if I'm muddling my points up here because I've got so much in my head that I just want to get out. And I've probably repeated myself 1,000 times. But do you see where I'm coming from? How is it not dangerous when from 18 years old I've had men message me asking me questions like this? OnlyFans management's messaging me, pitching to me all the money I could earn and asking me if I want to do this as a career. This is happening to girls all over the internet. Influencer or not, if you have a presence on the internet, especially if you are an influencer, like I imagine a lot of girls that do influencing as a job but have nothing to do with the SWI get messages like this. How is that normal and safe? It isn't. And this is linked to the growing epidemic of violence towards women, because at what point where does the distinction between women that are in the SWI and are on Instagram and then women that aren't and are still on Instagram, where does that distinction become? How can men objectify women that are in the sex work industry to just get what they want out of them from the safety of their own home, to then switch in and not objectifying women that they see day to day and other women on the internet? How often do you have to engage with the sex work industry for those lines to become blurred? For you to blur the lines between engaging with women in the sex work industry on the internet, engaging with other women on the internet? How long does it take for that to merge into one? For the way you see women in general instead of the way you see women on the internet in the sex work industry? Because the more and more you engage with this, the more and more that line becomes blurred. And that's what's happening. That line is becoming blurred. It's becoming so popular that it's becoming difficult for men to distinguish the two. And that's what I struggle with. That's what makes me angry. I don't know if you're getting my point from this at all. My point is that we're creating a generation of men that aren't denied things by women enough. The sex work industry is too accessible and too personal, and it's making it dangerous for not only women in the sex work industry but women outside of it. And that's where, if you take a job knowing the dangers of it, Like, yeah, I want to be an OnlyFans creator. I know that there's going to be weird men. I know there's a chance for stalking. I know there's the dangers of, I don't know, things getting used against me, blackmail. I know those dangers, but I'm going to do that job anyway. Suddenly, it's spilling over into women that have not agreed to take that job. Women that are just available on the internet, that have their jobs on the internet. Women like me. It's spilling over into creating a dangerous environment for everybody else and not just yourself. And I feel like once that starts happening, you have to take a look at the industry and be like, right, more needs to be done to protect everybody. Maybe undoing things is the right way to do it. Undoing the personal interactions. Yeah, a lot of people make money from it, but is the effect it's having on society in general worth that to you? And I understand you are not employed to worry about my safety. It's not your job. But as a society, shouldn't we be worried about girls' safety in general? The safety of everybody. But when you see things like this happening, shouldn't we be bothered about them? Do you know what I mean? And it's really difficult because you cannot control everything that happens on the internet. You can't. It's not how the world works. But I do not like the way that we're heading and the place that we're at with the sex work industry. I have big problems with OnlyFans in general. I think it's a brilliant business model. He's capitalised on something. He's taken it somewhere that, was previously not tapped into. Personal conversations, personal experiences, links to social media. It's capitalised on so brilliant business model. Horrendous for the social dynamic of a society. If you are a parent with children on the internet, it's just another thing for you to think about. If you are a young girl on the internet, have a little think about that. If you are a young man on the internet, think about the way you are talking to women, the way you are commenting on Instagram posts, on YouTube videos, on TikToks. Think about, it's crazy that I have to say this. Am I speaking to this woman as if she is a human being, as if she is a woman? What would her feelings be towards this comment if I asked it? Is that a nice thing to say? Is it the right thing to say? Is my brain so overtaken by desire at this moment in time that I'm having a lapse in judgment in the way I'm talking to this woman? Should I have a cold shower and come back to this? That's the type of questions that I feel we need to be asking ourselves, because the way I have been spoken to doing this job is crazy, and the way women are being spoken to is wild. I come from a place of love. I'm worried. I'm worried about girls. I'm really sorry it's a really heavy topic for the pod, but it's just something I felt I really need to talk about. And I've tried to make TikToks about it, but they always end up being too long. So I thought, you know what? Maybe it's best I put my views into a podcast. And I understand that some people are going to take it as that I hate the OnlyFans creators, and I absolutely don't. I love that you're doing this for you and you're making money off of men, creepy men. Look at you, and that's great for you. And I completely understand where you're coming from and the way you see it. I don't see it the same way. But that doesn't mean I have any hatred or any negative feelings towards you. I think that's brilliant that you're doing what you want and you're empowered by it. It doesn't mean it's about the right to choose now. It doesn't mean that I would ever, if I had the choice, take away a woman's right to choose if that's what she wanted to do as a job. I would take away the options these men have in how they can talk to you and how accessible it is. It doesn't mean I'm going to go around being like, is that what you want to do? Who am I? Who am I to say that? That is not my place at all, and that's not how I feel. But I just wanted to talk about the industry in general and to put my feelings across, because I think it's easy to get swept up in a really positive, like, this is great, that to see the positive side of it and not to think about the negatives that are actually coming with it, and some people might not know, that might not have considered the dangers it poses to other people rather than the people that are in the industry, the danger it poses to people outside of the industry. I don't know, I'm just trying to give you a different perspective and give you a little insight into the way my brain works, maybe. It's how I think about things like this, and to what I'm thinking when you send me a creepy freaking DM. That's what's going through my mind. You're a dangerous man. You're a gross, possibly dangerous human being. Because how do women know who to trust now when when a lot of men approach them in this way? How are we meant to know who's safe and who's not? So I guess that's it. Sorry there's been no On This Day in History segment. I didn't feel it right to include one. I think I'm going to start doing On This Day in History every day on my TikTok, because I just love it. So maybe go over. I'm still gonna do it on the pod. But yeah, I wanted to talk about something serious today, and I'm sorry if you hated it. I'm happy if you loved it. I know I'm not a very serious person, so sometimes I struggle to do things like this, but I really hope you managed to get past it for however long this podcast is. I don't even know when I started. But thank you so much for listening, guys. Let me know what you want me to talk about. DM me, send me a voice note. Email me at lilstakespod@gmail.com if you don't want to get in touch with me that way. And I will see you next week. Thank you so much, guys. Bye. You got a hiccup there.